The morning sun cast long shadows across the rolling hills of Cornwall as Prince William's motorcade wound its way through the narrow country lanes. Local residents had gathered along the roadside, some holding small Union Jack flags, others simply watching with curious eyes as the royal convoy passed by their homes. Children pressed their faces against windows, hoping to catch a glimpse of the future king who was making his way to what many considered one of the most important community developments in the region's recent history. The new access road project had been years in the making. What started as a simple proposal from the local council had grown into something much more significant. The road would not only provide better transportation links for residents, but would also serve as the gateway to a new community sports complex that had been built specifically for young people in the area. The facility included multiple football pitches, training areas, and a modern clubhouse that would serve as a hub for youth activities throughout Cornwall. Prince William had specifically requested to visit this project during his tour of the Southwest. His office had received detailed reports about how the development was already transforming the lives of young people in the community, particularly through its football programs. The prince, himself a passionate football fan and president of the Football Association, understood the power of sport to bring communities together and provide positive outlets for young energy and ambition. As the motorcade approached the entrance to the new facility, Prince William could see dozens of young footballers warming up on the pristine pitches. They had been training for weeks in preparation for this moment, not because they wanted to impress royalty, but because they were genuinely excited about their sport and proud of their new home ground. Their coaches had worked tirelessly to ensure everything was perfect, from the condition of the grass to the organization of the various activities planned for the day. The local football club had undergone a remarkable transformation over the past 2 years. What was once a struggling organization with limited facilities and dwindling membership had evolved into a thriving community institution. The new complex provided them with professional-grade training facilities, proper changing rooms, and most importantly, a sense of pride and belonging that had been missing for far too long. Sarah Mitchell, the club's youth coordinator, had been instrumental in this transformation. She had spent countless hours writing grant applications, organizing fundraising events, and working with local authorities to secure the necessary permissions and funding for the project. Her dedication had not gone unnoticed, and she was among those selected to meet Prince William during his visit. The young players represented a diverse cross-section of Cornwall's communities. Some came from farming families whose roots in the area stretched back generations, while others were newcomers whose parents had moved to Cornwall seeking a better quality of life away from the pressures of city living. Despite their different backgrounds, they all shared a common passion for football and a deep appreciation for the opportunities that the new facility provided. Marcus Thompson, aged 14, had been playing football since he could walk. His father had been a semi-professional player in his youth, and Marcus dreamed of following in his footsteps. The new training facilities meant he could practice year-round, regardless of weather conditions, and work with qualified coaches who understood how to develop young talent. For Marcus, meeting Prince William represented validation that their small-town club was worthy of national attention. Emma Rodriguez, one of only 3 girls in the main training squad, had faced numerous challenges in pursuing her football ambitions. The new facility included dedicated programs for female players, something that had been sorely lacking in the region. At 13, she was already showing exceptional skill and determination, catching the attention of scouts from larger clubs. Her story exemplified how the new complex was breaking down barriers and creating opportunities for all young people, regardless of gender or background. The weather that morning was typical for Cornwall, a mixture of sunshine and threatening clouds that could bring rain at any moment. However, the organizers had prepared for all possibilities. The indoor facilities were ready to accommodate activities if the weather turned, and the outdoor pitches had excellent drainage systems that could handle typical British weather conditions. Local media representatives had arrived early to document the historic visit. This was not just another royal engagement for them. It represented recognition of their community's achievements and the potential for similar developments across rural Britain. The story would be covered by regional newspapers, local television stations, and would likely be picked up by national media outlets interested in positive stories about youth development and community investment. The economic impact of the new facility extended far beyond its immediate sporting benefits. Local businesses had seen increased activity as families traveled from neighboring areas to use the facilities. The clubhouse cafe had become a popular meeting place for parents and community members, while the complex regularly hosted tournaments and events that brought visitors to the area. Prince William's advance team had spent several days in Cornwall preparing for the visit. They had met with local officials, security personnel, and community leaders to ensure that everything would run smoothly. The prince was known for his genuine interest in the projects he visited, often spending more time than scheduled when he encountered something particularly engaging or inspiring. The motorcade came to a gentle stop at the entrance to the sports complex, where a small reception committee waited nervously. Among them stood James Peterson, the local member of parliament who had championed the project from its earliest stages. Beside him was Margaret Thornton, the mayor of the local town council, wearing her ceremonial chain of office for this special occasion. They had rehearsed this moment several times, but nothing could quite prepare them for the reality of welcoming a member of the royal family to their community project. Prince William stepped out of the vehicle with characteristic ease, immediately putting those around him at ease with his warm smile and relaxed demeanor. He was dressed casually but appropriately for the outdoor setting: dark trousers, a collared shirt, and a jacket that could be easily removed if the weather improved. His approach to royal engagements had always emphasized accessibility and genuine connection rather than formal protocol. The first person to greet him was 10-year-old Lucy Barnes, who had been selected by her teammates to present the prince with a specially designed Cornwall FC scarf. Lucy had been practicing her curtsy for weeks, but when the moment came, Prince William immediately crouched down to her level and shook her hand instead, asking about her favorite position on the football pitch and whether she supported any professional teams. The opening ceremony for the access road was deliberately kept simple and community-focused. Rather than elaborate speeches or lengthy formal procedures, the organizers had planned an event that would allow Prince William to interact naturally with the young people who would be the primary beneficiaries of the new facility. A simple ribbon-cutting ceremony would mark the official opening, followed by demonstrations of various activities available at the complex. Local engineer David Walsh explained the technical aspects of the road construction to Prince William as they walked along the new pathway. The project had required careful environmental planning to ensure that local wildlife habitats were protected and that the road integrated seamlessly with the natural landscape. Special drainage systems had been installed to prevent flooding during Cornwall's occasional heavy rains, and the road's surface had been designed to minimize noise for nearby residents. The conversation turned to broader issues affecting rural communities as they toured the facility. Prince William asked thoughtful questions about youth employment opportunities in the area, educational resources available to young people, and how projects like this one could be replicated in other parts of the country. His genuine interest in these topics was evident to everyone present, and it encouraged others to share their own experiences and observations. Sarah Mitchell found herself walking alongside the prince as they approached the main football pitch, where the young players were continuing their training session. She explained how the club had grown from 30 members to over 200 in just 2 years, with waiting lists for many age groups. The success had created new challenges, including the need for additional qualified coaches and expanded facilities, but these were good problems to have. The training session that Prince William observed included players ranging from age 8 to 18, working on various skills and techniques under the guidance of their coaches. The youngest players were focusing on basic ball control and teamwork exercises, while the older teenagers were engaged in more advanced tactical training. The prince watched with obvious enjoyment, occasionally calling out encouragement and asking coaches about their training methods. One particularly touching moment occurred when Prince William noticed a young player sitting on the sidelines with his leg in a cast. 12-year-old Tom Bradley had broken his ankle 3 weeks earlier, but insisted on attending the training session to meet the prince. Without being prompted, Prince William walked over to speak with Tom, spending several minutes learning about his injury and discussing his hopes of returning to play before the end of the season. The indoor facilities tour revealed the full scope of what the community had accomplished. The clubhouse included a modern kitchen that could cater for large events, meeting rooms that were used for community gatherings beyond football activities, and a small library area where young people could complete homework or study while waiting for training sessions to begin. The multi-purpose nature of the facility reflected the organizers' understanding that true community development requires spaces that serve diverse needs. Prince William seemed particularly interested in the volunteer program that helped maintain and operate the facility. Local parents, retired community members, and even some of the older teenage players contributed their time and skills to ensure everything ran smoothly. This volunteer spirit had been crucial to the project's success and demonstrated the deep community investment in its continued operation. The conversation topics ranged widely during the tour. The prince asked about the impact of technology on young people's sporting activities, the challenges of maintaining interest in traditional sports in an increasingly digital world, and how community facilities like this one could adapt to changing social patterns. His questions revealed a sophisticated understanding of contemporary youth culture and the complex factors that influence young people's choices and opportunities. Media representatives were given controlled access to document the visit, but the emphasis remained on authentic interaction rather than staged photo opportunities. Prince William was comfortable with this approach, understanding that genuine moments of connection would tell a more compelling story than formal poses. Several spontaneous conversations with young players provided some of the most memorable images of the day. The weather had remained cooperative throughout the morning, with occasional sunshine breaking through the cloud cover to illuminate the green pitches and highlight the natural beauty of the Cornish countryside. This provided an ideal backdrop for the activities and helped create a relaxed atmosphere that encouraged natural interaction between the prince and the community members he met. Local businesses had contributed to the success of the event in various ways. The village bakery had provided refreshments for volunteers and media representatives, while a local construction company had donated additional landscaping work to ensure the facility looked its best for the royal visit. These contributions reflected the widespread community support that had made the entire project possible. The highlight of Prince William's visit came when he joined the young footballers for an impromptu training session on the main pitch. What had been planned as a brief demonstration turned into an engaging 20-minute activity where the prince actively participated in passing drills, small-sided games, and even attempted to score a few goals himself. His competitive spirit became evident as he good-naturedly argued with the young referee about a contested call during a mini-match. 15-year-old goalkeeper James Morrison found himself facing penalty kicks from the future King of England, an experience he would later describe as both surreal and incredibly exciting. Prince William's technique was respectable, though he admitted with characteristic humor that his football skills had deteriorated significantly since his university days. The young players were initially nervous about playing alongside royalty, but the prince's self-deprecating comments and obvious enjoyment quickly put them at ease. The impromptu football session provided some of the most genuine moments of the entire visit. Prince William demonstrated a natural ability to connect with young people, remembering names quickly, asking follow-up questions about their interests and ambitions, and showing genuine surprise and delight at displays of particular skill. When 13-year-old midfielder Sophie Chen executed a perfect through ball that led to a goal, the prince applauded enthusiastically and asked her who had taught her that technique. During a brief break in the activities, Prince William gathered the young players around him for an informal discussion about their experiences with football and their hopes for the future. Several players asked him about his own sporting interests, his role as president of the Football Association, and whether he had met any of their football heroes. The conversation revealed his genuine knowledge of and passion for the sport at all levels, from grassroots community clubs to international competitions. The discussion naturally evolved into broader topics about growing up in rural communities, the importance of having positive outlets for energy and creativity, and the role that sports can play in building character and resilience. Prince William spoke from personal experience about how participating in sports during his own youth had taught him valuable lessons about teamwork, handling both success and disappointment, and maintaining physical and mental health through regular exercise. One particularly meaningful exchange occurred when 16-year-old Daniel Cooper asked Prince William about dealing with pressure and expectations. Daniel was considered one of the most promising young players in the region and had recently been invited to trial with a professional club's youth academy. The prince's response was thoughtful and personal, acknowledging that while their circumstances were different, The fundamental challenges of living up to expectations and staying true to personal values were universal experiences. The conversation also touched on the importance of education alongside sporting pursuits. Several of the young players expressed concerns about balancing their football ambitions with academic responsibilities, particularly as they approached important examination periods. Prince William emphasized the value of maintaining multiple interests and keeping educational options open, sharing examples of professional footballers who had successful careers after their playing days ended. Local coach Michael Thompson, who had been working with youth football in Cornwall for over 15 years, was struck by Prince William's understanding of the challenges facing young people in rural areas. The prince asked detailed questions about transportation difficulties that prevented some young people from accessing training opportunities, the limited number of qualified female coaches available in the region, and the ongoing need for equipment and facility maintenance funding. The technical discussion about football development revealed Prince William's sophisticated understanding of how grassroots football operates in modern Britain. He was familiar with the various development pathways available to young players, the challenges faced by volunteer-run clubs, and the importance of maintaining high standards while keeping the sport accessible to families from all economic backgrounds. As the training session concluded, Prince William took time to speak individually with several of the coaches and parent volunteers who had made the facility's success possible. These conversations highlighted the enormous amount of time and effort that community members had invested in creating opportunities for their young people. The prince expressed genuine admiration for their dedication and asked detailed questions about how other communities might replicate their success. The emotional impact of the visit was evident in the faces of everyone present. For many of the young players, this represented validation that their small-town club and their personal ambitions were worthy of attention and respect. The presence of a member of the royal family at their training session would become a treasured memory that many would carry throughout their lives, regardless of whether they continued with football or pursued other interests. Parents and family members who had gathered to watch the proceedings were equally moved by the experience. Many had made significant sacrifices to support their children's football activities, including long drives to training sessions, expensive equipment purchases, and countless hours volunteering with club activities. Prince William's visit represented recognition of their efforts and validation of their investment in their children's development. The technical quality of the new facility became even more apparent during the training session. The playing surface was excellent, providing consistent ball bounce and safe footing for players of all skill levels. The lighting system would allow for evening training sessions during winter months, significantly expanding the available training time. The goals, nets, and other equipment were all of professional standard, giving young players experience with the same quality facilities they might encounter if they progressed to higher levels of competition. Local media representatives documented the training session extensively, capturing both formal group photographs and candid moments of interaction between Prince William and the young players. These images would later appear in newspapers and magazines throughout Britain, helping to raise the profile of grassroots football development and potentially inspiring similar projects in other communities. The spontaneous nature of much of the interaction meant that the visit felt authentic rather than staged. Prince William's willingness to participate actively in the training session, rather than simply observing from the sidelines, demonstrated his genuine engagement with the project and his respect for the young people involved. This approach aligned with his broader philosophy about royal engagements being opportunities for real connection rather than mere ceremonial appearances. After the football session, Prince William was invited to tour the community garden that had been established adjacent to the sports facility. This unexpected addition to the complex had emerged from a suggestion by local environmental science teacher Rebecca Watson, who recognized an opportunity to combine physical activity with education about sustainability and healthy eating. The garden had become an integral part of the facility's community outreach programs. The garden project involved young people of all ages in growing vegetables and herbs that were used in the clubhouse kitchen. This provided practical education about food production, nutrition, and environmental responsibility, while also helping to reduce operating costs for the facility. Prince William showed genuine interest in the various plants and growing techniques, asking detailed questions about soil preparation, seasonal planting schedules, and pest management strategies. 14-year-old environmental enthusiast Katie Williams had become the unofficial leader of the garden project, spending hours each week tending to the plants and coordinating volunteer work sessions with other young people. She explained to Prince William how the garden had taught her and her friends about the connection between healthy soil, nutritious food, and physical performance. The prince was impressed by her knowledge and passion, asking whether she was considering a career in environmental science or agriculture. The conversation in the garden revealed Prince William's own interest in environmental issues and sustainable agriculture. He shared examples of similar projects on his father's estates and discussed the broader importance of young people understanding where their food comes from and how their choices impact the environment. This discussion resonated particularly well in Cornwall, where agriculture and environmental conservation have long been important local issues. The garden also served as a therapeutic space for young people dealing with various personal challenges. Several participants in the football programs had found that working with plants and soil provided a calming counterbalance to the energy and competition of sports activities. Prince William spent time speaking with Marcus Henderson, a shy 15-year-old who had initially been reluctant to participate in team sports, but had found confidence and friendship through his involvement in the garden project. Local partnerships had been crucial to the garden's success. The nearby agricultural college had provided technical expertise and donated plants and equipment, while local farmers had contributed compost and advice about growing conditions specific to the Cornish climate. These collaborations had strengthened connections between the sports facility and the broader agricultural community, creating unexpected educational and economic benefits. The tour continued to the facility's workshop area, where young people learned basic maintenance skills for sports equipment and facility upkeep. This program had developed naturally as a way to involve older teenagers in the practical aspects of running the complex while teaching valuable life skills. Prince William observed several young people working on projects including goal net repairs, equipment storage solutions, and minor facility improvements. 17-year-old apprentice carpenter Ben Roberts demonstrated the workbench and tools that had been donated by local tradespeople. He explained how learning these practical skills had given him confidence and direction for his future career plans. The workshop program had created pathways for young people who were more interested in hands-on work than traditional academic subjects, providing them with valuable skills and connections to local employers. The prince showed particular interest in how the facility had created opportunities for young people to take leadership roles and develop responsibility. Several teenagers served as assistant coaches for younger age groups, helped with facility maintenance, organized fundraising events, and mentored newcomers to the programs. These leadership opportunities had proven particularly valuable for young people who struggled in traditional educational settings, but thrived when given practical responsibilities. Financial sustainability remained an ongoing challenge for the facility, and Prince William engaged in detailed discussions with the management committee about funding strategies and long-term planning. The initial capital costs had been covered through a combination of government grants, lottery funding, private donations, and community fundraising efforts, but ongoing operational expenses required careful management and continued community support. The business model for the facility was deliberately diverse, incorporating revenue from facility rentals, coaching programs, summer camps, and special events alongside ongoing fundraising activities. This approach provided some financial stability while maintaining affordable access for local families. Prince William asked thoughtful questions about how this model might be adapted for other communities with different economic circumstances and demographic profiles. Community volunteers played essential roles in every aspect of the facility's operation, from pitch maintenance and equipment management to administrative tasks and event organization. Prince William met with several long-term volunteers who had contributed hundreds of hours to the project's development and ongoing success. Their dedication and expertise had been crucial factors in keeping operational costs manageable while maintaining high standards. The conversation with volunteers revealed the deep sense of community ownership and pride that had developed around the facility. People from diverse backgrounds and age groups had found ways to contribute their skills and time, creating a network of support that extended far beyond the immediate families of young participants. This community engagement had unexpected benefits, including increased social connections among adults and new friendships that crossed traditional social boundaries. Prince William's questions about the project's broader impact revealed his understanding that successful community development requires attention to multiple factors beyond the immediate program goals. He asked about effects on local property values, relationships with neighboring communities, environmental impact, and integration with existing social services and educational institutions. The facility had indeed generated positive effects throughout the surrounding area. Local businesses reported increased activity from families visiting for training sessions and events. The success of the project had attracted attention from regional development agencies and potential investors interested in supporting similar initiatives. Property values in the immediate area had shown modest increases, reflecting the perceived value of having high-quality recreational facilities nearby. Educational partnerships had developed naturally as local schools recognized the value of the facility for their own physical education programs and extracurricular activities. Several schools regularly brought classes to use the pitches and facilities, while the clubhouse meeting rooms hosted educational programs and community events. These partnerships helped maximize the facility's utilization while strengthening connections between formal education and community-based learning opportunities. The formal ribbon-cutting ceremony to officially open the new access road took place as Prince William's visit drew to a close. The ceremony was held at the main entrance to the complex, where a specially designed ribbon in Cornwall's traditional colors had been stretched across the new roadway. Local dignitaries, community leaders, young football players, and their families gathered in a semicircle around the ceremonial area. Before cutting the ribbon, Prince William delivered brief remarks about the significance of the project and what it represented for rural community development throughout Britain. He spoke about the importance of investing in young people and providing them with opportunities to develop their talents, build friendships, and learn valuable life lessons through sport and community involvement. His words were heartfelt and personal, drawing from his observations during the visit and his broader understanding of youth development issues. The prince specifically acknowledged the extraordinary efforts of the volunteers, donors, and community organizations that had made the project possible. He recognized that successful community development requires sustained commitment from many people working together toward common goals. His remarks emphasized that while the facility was impressive, the real achievement was the community spirit and collaboration that had brought it into existence. Young team captain Sarah Jenkins had been chosen to assist with the ribbon cutting, representing all the young people who would benefit from the new facility. As she and Prince William cut the ribbon together, cheers erupted from the gathered crowd, marking not just the official opening of the access road, but the culmination of years of planning, fundraising, and community building efforts. Following the ceremony, Prince William spent additional time mingling with families and community members, taking photographs, signing autographs, and continuing conversations that had begun during the earlier tour. He showed no signs of rushing to leave, clearly enjoying the relaxed atmosphere and genuine warmth of the community reception. The prince took particular interest in hearing about future plans for the facility and the surrounding area. Community leaders shared their vision for additional developments that could complement the sports complex, including potential partnerships with tourism organizations, environmental education programs, and cultural activities that would celebrate Cornwall's unique heritage and traditions. Local photographer Jenny Morrison, who had been documenting community events for over 20 years, captured numerous candid moments throughout the visit. She noted later that Prince William's natural ease with people of all ages had created an unusually relaxed atmosphere that allowed for genuine interactions rather than formal poses. These photographs would become treasured historical records for the community. The economic impact discussion continued even during the informal reception period. Local business owners shared stories about how the facility had already begun attracting visitors from neighboring areas, creating new opportunities for shops, restaurants, and accommodation providers. The multiplier effect of the sports complex was beginning to generate benefits throughout the local economy. Prince William also learned about the challenges that remained for the community, including ongoing transportation difficulties for some families, the need for additional qualified coaches and support staff, and the constant requirement for fundraising to maintain and improve the facilities. These conversations provided him with a realistic understanding of both the achievements and the continuing needs of rural communities. The visit concluded with an impromptu group photograph that included all the young football players, their coaches, family members, and community volunteers who had contributed to the project's success. This image would later become one of the most widely circulated photographs from the visit, symbolizing the community collaboration and intergenerational support that had made the facility possible. As Prince William prepared to depart, several of the young players presented him with a specially designed Cornwall FC jersey bearing his name and the number 1, acknowledging his role as president of the Football Association. The prince seemed genuinely touched by this gesture, promising to display the jersey prominently and to follow the progress of the club and its young players. The emotional farewells reflected the genuine connections that had formed during the visit. Prince William had clearly been moved by the passion and dedication of everyone he had met, while community members felt validated and encouraged by his obvious interest in their achievements. Several young players expressed hope that they might meet the prince again, perhaps at Wembley Stadium if their football careers progressed successfully. Local media representatives worked quickly to file their stories about the visit, emphasizing both the royal recognition of the community's achievements and the broader implications for rural development policy throughout Britain. The coverage would help raise the profile of grassroots sports development and potentially influence funding decisions for similar projects in other areas. The departure of the royal motorcade marked the end of a historic day for the Cornwall community, but the impact of the visit would continue long after Prince William had returned to his other duties. The validation and encouragement provided by his presence had strengthened community confidence and commitment to the ongoing success of the facility. In the days following the visit, enrollment inquiries for the football programs increased significantly, with families from throughout the region expressing interest in joining the club. The positive media coverage had raised awareness about the facility and its programs, creating new opportunities for partnerships and support from organizations throughout southwest England. The young players who had participated in the training session with Prince William became local celebrities in their own right, sharing their experiences with classmates and friends. Their excitement and pride in representing their community had created positive role models for other young people and demonstrated the value of dedication and community involvement. The facility's management committee began planning for the future with renewed confidence and ambition. The royal visit had provided not only valuable publicity, but also practical insights and connections that could support the facility's continued development. Plans were already underway for additional programs and improvements that would build on the strong foundation that had been established. The success of Prince William's visit to Cornwall demonstrated the power of authentic community development and the importance of providing young people with opportunities to pursue their interests and develop their talents. The new access road and sports facility represented much more than infrastructure improvements. They symbolized a community's commitment to its young people and its belief in the possibility of positive change through collective effort and shared vision.